Hi guys, welcome back to a video here at the Paper Addict. It has taken me forever with the start of school to get this video done and edited. I'm using this page kit from Simple Stories. I had a few customers in my shop ask me about them. I do have a few in stock because I was specifically asked for them. But I figured I'd put one together to kind of give you my opinion on them and see what I think. I chose to use the family fun one because I had a few pictures of us when we went on vacation this year. The rides were more open than they were last year. They were open last year, but you had to buy a wristband. You only got a 2-hour time slot, and even though there would be no rides my husband and I would be riding, we would have had to pay for wristbands. So this was our first year back at the rides, and my kids were super excited. But I didn't have enough pictures to justify buying the whole collection. So I did make some changes on the photos. I think it was the sizes. I also chose you could follow the directions on this kit from start to finish with no problems, but I added some things, like obviously you see me inking the edges. I add some enamel dots, I used my Nuvo foam, those kinds of things. But it's meant so that you can just pop these pieces out and get to work and not even need a trimmer. If you have, if your photos print out with white borders like mine do, because obviously I don't print, a 3x4 at home. I print it on a 4x6 and cut it to, the 3x4. You may need a pair of scissors, but you would not need a trimmer to complete this. You also obviously wouldn't need the foam or enamel dots. If it was someone just starting out, they wouldn't have to buy a whole lot of things to complete this layout. There is also a movie night one that you get in the packet. So you get like a family fun one, which is more like arcade and rides kind of thing, and the other one's movie night. I have completed that layout as well, but I didn't video that because we went to the drive-in and our son brought a friend. And his friend was in every picture, and I didn't know how their family felt about, YouTube and whatnot, so I chose just not to record that one. So in the kit, you get the 4 background papers to make 2 double-page layouts, and then you get some chipboard embellishments and some paper embellishments. The chipboard is not as thick as if you buy like a chipboard sheet on your own from, say, Simple Stories or Echo Park. These are much thinner chipboard. They also are punch out, as are the die cuts. And that's my new, do you see my new distress ink? I made a stamp of each color I have so that I can compare a little more easily than having to look at all the foam pieces and which one would look best. But anyway, you punch out the die cuts and the chipboard. I will say, as part of my preference, I don't like that portion. I would prefer they come already cut, because every single thing has those little punch out nubby pieces on them. The ones that were really, really obvious, I cut off, but most of them I just try to live with, if I'm entirely honest. But so the chipboard is not as thick, and the punch out die cuts are not as thick as a normal cardstock die cut. They're actually very fragile. I had a lot of trouble getting them out of the the little punchy out portion without ripping them. I also, when I was putting adhesive down on my title, The Family Fun, I put foam down on it, and when I went to add the adhesive, it ripped the Y. They're so thin that it will rip the Y right off of it. So I have to admit, I wasn't really impressed with that portion. I can't really think of, you know, they'd have to either make it thicker or somehow already have it punched out. So I'm going to edit this, but I do put Fun Foam on the title to pop it up higher. That's one of the adjustments I made. You know, there's no directions, so to speak, that call for any of those things, but I wanted something just a little different. But I don't make you sit and watch the whole thing. But there you can see that my Y and my rest of my word had ripped apart. So, and of course I got adhesive on my photo, so I have to go back and reprint that one. I tried to use my adhesive eraser where you like rub the eraser on. It's supposed to take the adhesive off. That just made it worse. But this is the right-hand page you can see here. This is the matting piece. It called for a 4x6, but I had more photos that I wanted to include than just that 4x6. So I ended up using a 4x4, and then those are just a tiny bit bigger than 2x2. Also down here it called for one vertical and one horizontal photo, but I did not have a horizontal photo to use. So here I'm punching out the what I would call faux chipboard for the entire page so that I can just adhere it down. I did not read the directions on this. It comes with a set of directions, like step 1, do this, step 2, do that. But what I did is I just looked at the portion that told you what size photos to print, and then looked at the picture. It's very self-explanatory. The whole layout took less than 30 minutes to make. You could probably get it done in even less time than that if you had used exactly the size of the photos they called for, as well as didn't add the things like the foam or the enamel, you know, dots. Or obviously I mounted some of my photos and inked, so that took longer. Overall, though, I have to say I probably would not purchase one of these again. As I said, the die cuts are flimsy and they all have those little nubbies on them. The chipboard is not really chipboard. So knowing the amount of stash that I have, I probably wouldn't do this again. If it was someone who was just starting out and didn't want to accumulate a stash, I could see this being good for them. Or, you know, someone who's living in a small space. But I think what I would rather purchase in the future, if it was something that I was looking to not buy the whole collection, I think I would go with something like the value bundles from Bella Boulevard, or, you know, Doodlebug has them, where you get a sampling of embellishments and paper, but it's not like you bought every single piece of the collection. But in the end, I'm happy to have these, you know, documented, and that in less than an hour I have 2 double-page layouts done. But now I know when I'm asked about, you know, what they're like or what the quality is, it's a question that I can answer, and that's what I wanted, to get these photos documented and be able to answer, you know, the questions that come in my shop. So I don't even know at this point, what do I have left to do? Oh, adhere all these photos down. And you're supposed to have one 4x6, so the embellishments that are supposed to go on this photo ended up not fitting where they were supposed to be. There's like some word phrases that are supposed to come in off the right-hand side along with, I believe it was like a stars kind of embellishment. But you'll see me pull them out later. I need to get some liquid adhesive. I'm all out. And if I'm honest, the ATG and the foam don't always particularly get along. But the phrase stickers came over my husband and my daughter's face. They're up in the right-hand corner on the bumper cars. So I end up putting them, the one-word sticker between the two smaller 2x2 photos. And then one I put on the one of our son in the bumper car. I think that's where I ended up putting it. The Let's Race, I debated, like, should I put these cars there? But I thought, oh, they can be bumper cars. And the Let's Race, you know, she's on the little boats. And they don't particularly race, but, you know, when they're little, they think they do. So I thought it was fine. The only thing that really bothered me was the bowling. But there's bowling video games in the arcade section of the amusement area. So I just left it be. I figured it really followed the theme. So here's where I move those stickers around to make them fit the best with the photo adjustments that I made. And then after this, I think the only thing that I have left to do is add my this last star embellishment and my Nouveau drops. I believe, if I have my colors correct in my notes here, I used ebony black, I used bottle green, and I think the other one was midnight blue. They matched the best with the colors. I did try to use a glitter red that I had, but the tip was clogged, so I put that away for, you know, right now, and I'll spend some time with a needle trying to get that unclogged. But if anybody has any tips or tricks on the Nouveau drops, I didn't have this problem when I first started using them, but now I get a lot of points instead of them being round. I tried tapping them down and they didn't, you know, it didn't level down. So if you have any tips or tricks on that, I'd love to hear them. Otherwise, I'm just going to get this finished up. I have a still shot of each side of the double page at the end, as well as I have them marked together, you know, a photo of them together. So tell me, have you purchased any of these kits? What did you think of them? Are they something you liked, something you didn't like? And I hope to be getting into a rhythm of scrapbooking and videoing now that the kids are regularly in school, but you know how that goes, the best laid plans. So I hope to be back with you again soon, guys. Thanks so much. Bye.